When I was interviewing 250 millennials and Gen Z, people like you, for my third book, Hacks for Life and Career, A Millennial's Guide to Making It Big, the number one pain point that came through was the knowledge of personal finance. Most people like you said, we don't know where to invest money, we don't understand how the asset classes run, and we don't know what are the mistakes that we should avoid. A badly managed portfolio actually harms you severely in the long run. If your portfolio keeps growing consistently, not only will you sleep better at night, but you can actually make very good professional choices. You can pick up a side hustle, you can get into an entrepreneurial venture. You can do so much if you have the comfort of money behind you. My name is Sandeep Das. I have an MBA from IIM Bangalore and a strategy course from INSEAD. I have 13 years of experience having held leadership positions in consulting and FMCG. I've written 3 books. My third book, Hacks for Life and Career, A Millennial's Guide to Making It Big, is a bestseller on Amazon. And I'm going to talk about some of the principles of personal finance which I touch upon in the book. In this video, I'm going to help you answer 3 questions. Number 1. What are some of the mistakes when it comes to money or personal finance which you should avoid? Number 2, how should you invest your monthly salary? What's a good portfolio allocation statement for someone like you? And number 3, how do you learn more about personal finance? What are some of the channels you can look at? So let's get started with number 1. What are some of the mistakes you should make? And I should tell you that a lot of these mistakes I'm going to talk about are mistakes I have made, my friends have made, and if we could go back in time, we would tell each of our younger selves not to make these mistakes. There are 4 key mistakes which almost everyone in their 20s either thinks of making or has made at some point. Number 1, not having an emergency fund. So what is an emergency fund? Emergency fund, essentially, as the name suggests, helps you to take care of an emergency. An emergency could be that you lose your job, there's a healthcare crisis with you, your family, or any form of emergency. When you don't have a dedicated emergency fund, you're just left scrambling for money, trying to liquidate instruments and just break whatever you can so that you can just get past the emergency. Number 2, and this is a mistake I resonate with very strongly, is living on credit card debt. Now, when you start working and you're flush with money, you're obviously looking to buy the next iPhone or the next gadget, and I used to do a lot of it. And when you have these beautiful credit cards that say that at the one click of a button, you can get the next best dress, the shoe, the gadget, it becomes very, very luring. But this is actually a huge mistake you can make living on credit card debt. Why? 1, because of the interest rate. The interest rates are humongous. They charge you in excess of 24%. But the bigger issue is a mindset issue. Once you get used to living on debt, it's very bad for your personal finance because you will keep buying and buying on money that you don't essentially have. Number 3 is investing in instruments which you don't understand. Now, there's so much talk about Bitcoins, P2P, digital gold, and there's so many advisors who say that here is this super complicated product that will meet all your needs. If you do not understand an instrument, do not invest in it. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. I remember when we were younger, we used to look as money as a status symbol and as form of gambling on the poker table. So some of us would always say things like, look, I bought this penny stock, and within 7 days that stock multiplied and became 1.2 times what it was. So if you do not understand an instrument, do not invest in it. Number 4 is looking at real estate as an investment vehicle. Now, when you look at real estate, you should only look at it for the purpose of staying and not for the purpose of investing. Why do I say that? 1, because it's illiquid. You can't settle it at the drop of a hat. You will not get a buyer to sell it as soon as possible. 2, the transaction size is huge. Most flats or plots of land are in excess of 1 crore. So it significantly blocks your money flow. And 3, some of these flats get difficult to maintain. Some of you may say that, but that real estate flat also gives you rent. But the thing is, the rent you make will never match inflation. For instance, if your flat is worth 1.5 crore and the rent on it is say 40,000 a month, you're earning about 4.8 lakhs a year over 1.5 crores. That's about 3% in terms of rental yield. And inflation in India is between 4.5% to 6%. So the way real estate is designed in India, the rental yield, as we call it, the money from rent, can never match the inflation. And because of the reasons I said above, real estate is not a great asset class vehicle for investing. Get into real estate only if you want to stay in it. So what are some of the other mistakes you have made? Drop in your mistakes in the comments box and I will try and address as many of them as I can. Now let's come to the second question in terms of what should the portfolio for someone like you be? And it's important to understand two guiding principles when it comes to money. One, your portfolio should beat inflation by 2 to 3%. When your portfolio consistently beats inflation, it's actually when you're making money. So if inflation in India is between 4.5% to 6%, your portfolio should be making between 7 to 8.5% consistently. That's when you're actually making money because you're beating inflation. The second guiding principle you have to look at is in terms of consistency in returns and having limited volatility. There's no point in your portfolio growing by 30% in 1 year and it losing 60% the next year. What you need is consistent growth with limited volatility. And if you look at these two guiding principles, essentially the following 3 steps is what I suggest. 1, have an emergency fund. Emergency fund for instances which you cannot foresee. Could be your job loss, could be a health crisis. How much should you have in the emergency fund? It's about 6 months of living expenses. So say if your monthly expense is 40,000 from rent, from food, from your daily expenses. So you should have about 2.5 lakhs. And where do you keep this 2.5 lakhs? In a place which is easily accessible. So you can just keep it in your bank. Don't worry so much about the interest rate. This is meant for a rainy day. Now, if you have your monthly savings, the question is how should you invest and where should you invest? And these are the 2 places you should invest. You should invest 70% in quality debt and 30% in equity. Let's go one by one. What I mean by quality debt is debt instruments which give you steady return but very limited volatility and limited risk of default. So what are some of these instruments? Some of these instruments are provident fund with your company. You get about 8.5% before tax, 7.5% after tax. Voluntary provident fund, you can contribute in excess to your provident fund, 8.5% before tax, 7.5% after tax. PPF, public provident fund, 1,50,000 every year. You get about 7.1% without tax. You can also invest in debt mutual funds, which invest in quality debt funds. What we call corporate bonds, which invest in AAA paper, AAA meaning the highest quality of debt. How do you invest in debt mutual funds that invest in AAA corporate paper? You can go to any of these mutual fund sites, HDFC mutual funds, ICICI mutual funds, Aditya Birla mutual funds, Motilal Oswal mutual funds. You'll have asset classes there, and what you need to pick there is corporate bonds. They typically invest in AAA or the highest grade paper, and you can just keep buying mutual funds from that. When you hold debt mutual funds for over a period of 3 years, you get good tax benefits. It's called taxation minus indexation. The second asset class that you need to invest is 30% of your monthly savings in equity instruments. I recommend you invest in Indian large cap fund and the American large cap fund. Why do I suggest that? Both the Indian economy and the American economy have very strong prospects for the next 10 years. The reason I suggest the large cap funds meaning mutual funds that invest in really big companies, think of Reliance, think of HDFC Bank, is because these companies essentially mirror the GDP and they have limited volatility on the downside. Now, it also makes sense to invest in the American stock market because you are essentially buying in dollars, but the rupee will depreciate over a period of time. So you're making some form of currency benefit. Also, the Indian and the American stock market don't move hand in hand. So it's some form of diversification benefit. So how do you again get started investing in the Indian large cap fund and the American large cap fund? You again go to these mutual fund websites. You can look for large cap funds, which are meant for Indian large cap funds. You can look for American stock markets and then pick a mutual fund which represents the American large cap funds. Now, some of you might be more interested and some of you might say, but I also want to invest in ULIP, I want to invest in Bitcoin, P2P platforms, digital gold. My suggestion is, if you have the time to research and if you understand this space, please go ahead. Don't do this because someone else is doing it or the media is making it cool. What are some of your questions about investing in asset classes? Drop them in the comment section and I will try and answer as many as I can. Let's move to the third question in terms of how do you learn about this space on personal finance. Here are my 3 suggestions. 1, through the newspapers. I think Economic Times Wealth, ET Wealth, which is a supplement on Monday, is an excellent vehicle to get started. So you can subscribe to it, you can read about it. It's a supplement that comes every Monday and you can build your knowledge from that. The second is to read the personal finance section in newspapers like Mint. That's the first vehicle, through newspapers. The second vehicle is by reading very good books. And there are 2 suggestions I have for you. One is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It talks about various asset classes and it's an easy book to get started. The second book suggestion I have is my own book, Hacks for Life and Career, A Millennial's Guide to Making It Big, which has an entire section on personal finance in terms of explaining all the asset classes, where should you invest, where should you not invest. A lot of what you're hearing from this video is actually coming from the book. The third vehicle you can learn is to subscribe for certain courses. So for instance, Inside IM has many courses on finance which help you get started with some of these personal finance concepts. Some of the links to those courses are in the description section. You can also actually enroll for mentorship with me. You can ask for specific one-on-one sessions with me where you run me past some of your personal finance queries. The link to that is also in the description. So in conclusion, always remember that money and personal finance are extremely critical. The more money you have in the bank, the better you will sleep at night. And a lot of people make mistakes when it comes to personal finance, which you should avoid. The real way to succeed in your primary career is when you take care of your money and personal finance. So this is what I had to say. Hope you liked this video. Do subscribe to the channel and you can also listen to the other videos I've made as part of this channel. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can drop me connection requests. You can send messages to me if you have any specific questions. I can always look to answer them. You can also drop your comments in the comments box and I will try and answer and address as many as I can. Look forward to seeing you again on another video.